This is Fred Hessler inviting you to hear some of the top athletes of 1954 in a special awards program on Sports Forum. A special awards program in sports is the one held annually by the Los Angeles Times. We invite you to hear a portion of the activities of this year's Los Angeles Times Sports Awards Dinner, featuring Willie Mays, Yogi Berra, and many other great names in sports. And now, as your master of ceremonies, the leading sports columnist of the Los Angeles Times, Braden Dyer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the radio audience. You are joining more than 1,000 sports fans who have jammed the Coconut Grove to capacity for our 12th annual Sports Awards Dinner. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you wherever you may be. We are here, as in the past, to honor the nation's outstanding athletes. The Times National Sports Awards Board is composed of Casey Stengel, famed manager of the New York Yankees, Dean B. Cromwell, the world's greatest track and field coach, Ellsworth Vines, tennis and golf champion, Bill Schroeder, managing director of the Helms Athletic Foundation, Paul J. Schisler, director of special events for the Times, Paul Zimmerman, sports editor of the Times, and myself. With the assistance of the nation's top sports writers, we have selected the champions who are to receive awards of merit tonight. Some already have appeared on our program. Others you will hear from as they accept their trophies. There are many great football players in the National Professional League. Our board felt that they couldn't go wrong by honoring the best passer for 1954. His record won him his third passing title in the last 5 years of National League competition. His total yardage through the air, 2,637 yards, was the highest ever made by a Ram passer. His own players named him as the most valuable man on their team. We think he's the best in the entire game, and that's why we're honoring him tonight. Here he is, the great quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams, Norman the Dutchman Van Brocklin.
Thank you very much, Braden. It's really my privilege to be here tonight with such fine athletes that I'm sitting with up here and listening to Casey Stengel and Rocher hollering signals back at Yogi and Willie to take two and hit to right, stuff like that. Watched Cleveland run up 56 points on Detroit. I was reminded of a story that Sammy Baugh is involved in, who's one of my favorite personalities. The story goes back to 1940. They had beaten Chicago Bears 7-3 during the regular season, and they were playing them for the championship this particular day, and they, as you know, were defeated 73-0, which is a record score. And Chicago kicked off to them at the start of that ball game, and Sammy Baugh got hot through 6 or 7 straight strikes, took them down to the 10-yard line. It was 4th down and 10 to go, and he hit an end by the name of Maloney in the end zone, and Maloney dropped the ball. Chicago Bears came on and ran up 73 points. After the ball game, a reporter rushed up to Sammy and said, Sammy, what do you think would have happened if Maloney had caught that ball? He said, sir, he says, the score would have been 73-7. Thank you very much.
Norman, you might be interested to know, and I believe you do, that we honored Otto Graham here last year. And look what he went and did. A year later in that professional championship game. We hope that honoring you here tonight will spur you on to the same result in 1955. One of the greatest and most popular triumphs scored in 1954 was rung up by a man from St. Louis. He captured the National Open Golf Championship in competition against one of the greatest fields ever assembled, including the incomparable Ben Hogan, who before play began was a prohibitive favorite. This was our Golfer of the Year's 9th try for the championship. From the Westwood Country Club in St. Louis comes the National Open champion and our real champion in our Pro Golfer of the Year, Ed Fergo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dyer. Ladies and gentlemen, It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here, especially when you realize what this event signifies. To me, sports is one of the major backbones of the American spirit. And it is thus in all sports, regardless of what it is or how trivial it may seem. It is just the American spirit to win fairly as possible. Competition is what makes a man. It gives him an incentive to accomplish something worthwhile, to be able to belong to whatever he does, to be one of the best. I know that in my trials, I played for 10 years in competition golf. In 10 years, I won absolutely nothing. But this year, I was fortunate enough to win 3 events, and I caught the cream of the crop, the National Open Championship. I hope that in some little way I can live up to that championship. I'd like to thank the Los Angeles Times for this privilege of being here. I hope that I can be here on some other occasion. At this time, I'd like to wish you all a very happy 55 and hope to see you again. Thank you.
Our professional baseball player of the year has played in the majors only a little more than 2 seasons. He spent all of 1953 in Uncle Sam's Army and most of 1952. Yet he came back during 1954 to lead his league in batting with a sensational mark of .345. He appeared in 151 games, banged out 41 homers, and knocked in 110 runs. His phenomenal catch in the opening game of the 1954 World Series against Cleveland probably provided the spark which led his team to a quick, clean sweep. All the way from San Juan, Puerto Rico, is our baseball player of the year, also voted the nation's male athlete of the year in the Associated Press poll, Willie Howard Mays, Jr. of the New York Giants.
I'd like to thank each and every one for making this it's possible for me to be here and to receive this award today. No one ever had it in mind that who made Willie Mays the ball player he is today. I have a little story I'd like to just try and tell you. It was in the year 51. I was only 19. And I was called up to play center field for the Giants. Surprise, true. I never had any idea that I would be going to the Giants as early as 19. So I arrived in Philadelphia, and true enough, I was playing center field for the Giants. And they had one of the best pitchers in the league today, Robert Roberts. So I went to bat 5 times, and 5 times up, 5 times down, you know. So no one said anything that day, but the next day, they had the next best pitcher in the league, Simmons. 5 times up, 5 times down. Still no one said anything. So I was getting kind of worried. So the next day, still playing in Philadelphia, and they had Weimar there, same thing, 5 times up, 5 times down. So I was really getting worried, and I said, gee, I knew I can play a little ball. So we went to New York, and I was kind of worried through. So we had bad practice, and I was really getting worried. So I started crying and went to the clubhouse and told Leo, I said, I don't think I can play this kind of ball. I said, why don't you send me back to the minors? He looked at me and said, well, he said, you don't have to hit anything. You just catch, we'll hit him for you.
That's great, Willie. Willie, speaking about just catching him, we all remember that great catch that you made, and I understand that Leo DeRocher said you'd made many other great catches and that this was merely routine. Just how do you compare that catch with others that you've made?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't think it was a hard catch for me to make, but everyone said it was a hard catch because in the World Series, you know, if you're in the World Series, they're going to make it funny bigger than what it is anyway. So I tried to tell him that it wasn't a hard catch because during the regular season I have made a few catches harder than that. Because in '51 I made a catch off Bobby Morgan that knocked myself out, and still I caught the ball.
Also, Willie, you played under several managers. I mean, you had a great manager at Trenton, I believe, and another club there, and you had some managers and majors and sergeants in the services, and you also have a great manager down at San Juan, Puerto Rico, and a manager. Who was the best manager you ever played for? Can you? No?
You mean you honestly want the truth?
Yeah, sure.
If I say anyone other than Leo, I know I'll be shot, so I have to say Leo.
Now you know how he makes those catches, don't you, huh? He just charms that ball into his glove. For obvious reasons, we couldn't honor all the great baseball players who deserve recognition. But we knew that you'd feel cheated unless you got to see and hear from the most valuable player in the American League for 1954. He batted in 125 runs, only one less than the league leader, slammed out 22 homers, and averaged .307. What's more, he appeared in 151 games, the same as Willie Mays, which is a tribute to his team value inasmuch as he's a catcher. For a special award, the popular backstop for the New York Yankees, Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra.
You're in charge. I want to thank the Los Angeles Times for inviting me out here to receive this here award. As most of you know, I'm not much of a talker. At home, my wife does all the talking. And when I go and sign my contract, Weiss does all the talking. So again, thank you very much.
Yogi, you don't get off that easy. I understand Casey Stengel, sitting down here, has indicated that in order to strengthen his team, he has some other young catchers coming up. He may move you to third base of the outfield. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't know. That's up to him. I played third base the last day of the season. I got 2 chances. I didn't make an error.
Yogi, I have always wondered, when we see the catcher walk out to the pitcher there, what do you generally tell the pitcher when you walk out there to the mound?
Well, I guess a lot of people think we asked him if he's in trouble. He knows he's in trouble already.
And that was Yogi Berra speaking to Brave and Dyer on the Los Angeles Times Annual Sports Award Banquet, presented on Sports Forum in a special broadcast today. This is Fred Hester speaking. We invite you to hear Sports Forum weekly at the same time. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.